Donald Trump has made good on his promise to endorse the Texas Republicans who voted for Greg Abbott's school choice plan. This is Friday, July 11th, 2025.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State, the Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
Well, we've made it to the end of the week. Thanks for spending part of your Friday with the Texas Minute. When the special session starts on July 21st, Texas lawmakers will be asked to redraw congressional lines that the U.S. Department of Justice describes as unconstitutional vestiges of the past. More on that story coming up. So for fun, let's lead off with two stories from Democrat-controlled Harris County. First up, you have County Judge Lina Hidalgo, a Democrat, still trying to get commissioners to agree to change policy so taxpayer funds can be used to let her travel internationally for so-called trade missions. The commissioners keep telling her no, and she says she'll keep asking until they agree with her. For those of you who've had children, that will sound vaguely familiar. Meanwhile, Harris County's flood control district is facing scrutiny after a local watchdog identified a $1 billion discrepancy in the accounting of the flood bond program. And as you might imagine, this is $1 billion missing, not suddenly appearing. In one example, the San Jacinto River watershed's remaining funds plunged by $143 million, despite only $168,000 in new spending. Officials have yet to explain why the money is no longer available. The Harris County Auditor's Office refused to answer questions from Texas Scorecard on the issue, demanding instead that we file an open records request. Attorney General Ken Paxton and State Senator Angela Paxton are getting divorced after nearly 4 decades of marriage. In a post on social media, Angela Paxton cited biblical grounds as the reason for her filing. Ken Paxton, of course, is opposing John Cornyn in the U.S. Senate race. He said the decision follows years of public scrutiny on their marriage. Putting congressional redistricting on the agenda for the upcoming special legislative session, Governor Greg Abbott cited constitutional concerns raised by the U.S. Department of Justice about 4 racially gerrymandered districts in the state. A letter sent from the DOJ Civil Rights Division to Abbott and Attorney General Ken Paxton urged the state to rectify the race-based considerations that have been used to create the specified districts or face legal action. The DOJ letter described the districts as, quote, vestiges of an unconstitutionally racially based gerrymandering past. These 4 targeted districts, 3 in the Houston area and 1 in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, are so-called majority-minority coalition districts, all currently held by Democrats. A federal court ruling last year in a Galveston County redistricting case established that the Voting Rights Act does not protect districts based on coalitions of different minority groups. Redrawing the congressional maps ahead of the 2026 midterm elections could help the GOP maintain a majority in the U.S. House as Trump pushes ahead on his agenda. Such a boost would require shifting Republican voters from GOP-held areas while maintaining the party's majority in those districts. Republicans currently hold 25 of Texas's 38 U.S. House seats, while Democrats hold 12 seats, and 1 traditionally Democrat seat is vacant and is one of those targeted for redistricting. The Texas Minute will be right back.
The media has an agenda, and having seen behind the curtain, I can tell you it's not what's in your best interests. That's why I started the Salcedo Storm podcast every weekday. Real talk for real Texans. The Salcedo Storm podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts.
In a move telegraphed months in advance, President Donald Trump has endorsed nearly every Republican lawmaker in Texas. State lawmakers were reportedly told by Governor Greg Abbott that Trump would have their backs come election season if they voted for the $1 billion school choice program. The 3 Republicans who opposed the measure were not endorsed. Those are State Representatives Dade Phelan and Gary Vandiver, both of whom are seeking re-election, and State Senator Robert Nichols, who is not. The endorsements were emailed to lawmakers from Trump's Political Action Committee. Last month, the state Republican Executive Committee passed a resolution urging the president to withhold endorsements until after November 8, 2025. That date was set because that timing would allow the party to complete potential censure proceedings under the Texas GOP's Rule 44, which penalizes lawmakers for straying from the party's legislative priorities or core principles. You can find details on all the stories mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. This edition of the Texas Minute was based on the original reporting of Joseph Trimmer, Aaron Anderson, and Brandon Waltons. Nick Shepard produces the podcast and gets it delivered to your ears. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Have a great weekend.